Oh, shit.
Now I'm gonna need all of the riders and all of the gangsters and all of the thugs and all of the people that's in the house that's sitting up there and right there and over there and over there and in the back and in the front. Matter of fact, I need everybody in this motherfucker to make some noise for my homeboy, this nigga right here.
Machiavellian is Illuminati, all through your body. It blows like a 12-gauge shadow. And God said he should get one big out of son into the waves.
Now, if y'all know this shit, I want to hear y'all sing it. Come on, come with me.
Hail Mary, run quick speed. What do we have here now? Do you want to ride or die?
Make some noise for Tupac and this motherfucker. Now check this out, y'all. I had the pleasure of working with those last two cats on a song that went a little something like this.
Come on, everybody get up. Come on, everybody get up. Come on. Now, Boston, if y'all know the words of this shit, we need everybody to sing that shit. Say what?
Let's see. Come on.
What's up? Hey, yo, Doc, show 'em how we do it on the West Coast, girl.
Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West. A state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Got the best for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state with a bomb ass hit beat. A place where you never find a dance floor empty. And pimps be on a mission for them greens. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 20 years making rap tunes. Every since bitches is wearing Sassoon. Now it's 2000, they clock me and watch me, diamond shining, looking like a Bob Liberace. It's all good, from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the shit if your city getting paid. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Dre putting it down for California,
Yo, cut that shit, man. Fuck that. We need to show these motherfuckers what kind of party they in right now.
Ain't nothing but a gangsta.
Oh, shit! Hey, yo, Dre, tell them what the fuck is up, my nigga.
What? This is what we want y'all to do. We want to hear everybody in this motherfucker sing Tupac Squad. If y'all know this shit, we want to hear y'all scream it out, Boston. Let's do it. Yeah. Come on, go.
Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture. Bomber hooches with precision. My intentions to get with you with that double OP. Dog, my fucking homie. Use a cold ass nigga on the mall.
Show enough, I keep my hand on my gun, cause they got me on the run. Now I'm back in the courtroom waiting on the outcome. Free Tupac is all that's on a nigga's mind, but at the same time, it's him they trying to take mine. So I'ma get smart and get defensive and shit, and put together a million march for this gangster shit.
So now they got a slate to
Put your motherfucking tools in the air. Put your motherfucking tools in the air. Keep your motherfucking tools in the air.
I'm vicious on these stupid bitches. You might be deep in this game, but you got the tools missing. Niggas be acting like you savage. They out to get the cabbage. I got nothing but love for my niggas to the left.
I got a pit named Petey, she niggerino. I got a house out in the hills right next to Chino. And I think I got a black Beamer, but my dream is to own a fly casino like Bugsy Siegel and do it all illegal and get scooped up by my little homie in the Rico. It feels good to you, baby bubba. You see, this is for the G's and the keys, motherfucker. Now, Boston,